So, I hate to be that guy, but I have to mention it. So, is all our characters kind of just looking past that there is thousands upon thousands of people dying just for this full course? I mean, I know all of our characters have seen some shit in this series. They've seen quite a bit, and they've been through quite a bit. So I know that seeing stuff like that of deaths of people, I guess it wouldn't faze them that much. But the entirety of how it was kind of perceived in this chapter to me, like how I perceived it, just very off. Because, I mean, Komatsu, he hears about how people are being used, and then, like, he moves over, he's like, oh, I want to cook air. And I'm like, what the fuck? Now, I know Komatsu cooking air like he's doing, it's probably going to help out everybody in the end, and he's probably going to figure out how to cook every individual ingredient, and how to cook it the best way possible, for he can save time. Instead of centuries, it will be decades. And so in the long run, he is going to save people, and they won't have to die constantly being thrown into the fire or dying as fertilizer. So, I mean, Komatsu, I know he's trying to help everybody out, but the way the characters kind of reacted to it, with people being used, I'm like, what? Because when you had all the chefs just hearing about it, I'm like, okay, just let's just roll with it, let's accept it, people are being used as fertilizer. Okay, so getting past that, though, the main thing I want to discuss is, we come to find out that Komatsu, he is learning how to cook the full course, because right now he showcases his abilities to cook air, and air is like easy mode for him. It's straight up easy mode. It's just like fucking like nothing. You have it to where he just walks in, he's like, you guys are not cooking air right. And he just cooks air like it's nothing. And then you have it to where that chef just got told, like, he just got the hand. He just got the fucking hand from Komatsu, because that's how easy air was for Komatsu when it came to cooking it. And it's kind of funny to see Komatsu just bitch slapping everybody, all these chefs that have been working for thousands of years, and do it like with relative ease in under a couple of seconds. Well, probably a couple minutes to put a real time frame on. So it just goes to show you how crazy Komatsu's food luck is to be able to do something like that. And just seeing Komatsu wrecking some bitches, that kind of never gets old. I always get a good laugh just seeing how Komatsu comes in and just shows that he is a good chef, and you all should understand that he's one of the best chefs so far in the series. But anyways, so we know that they're cooking the full course. We have it to where there's a bunch of ingredients for the full course that's being made. And I feel like the way this is being set up, maybe we'll get to the point to where Komatsu is going to experiment with each individual item on the full course, and he is going to learn how to cook it fast. So when we get to the actual ingredient later on down the road, it might make it to where he could cook it in like a couple minutes to maybe a couple decades, because they're learning right now how to like make the back channels and stuff, because right now we're getting the introduction to how back channels are made, to also the soul world or the spirit world or the hyperbolic time chamber, whichever name you want to attach on to this soul world. So I feel like after all is said and done with this arc, Komatsu is probably going to learn an ability maybe for the back channel to make his own artificial space, like safe zone, for he could cook in, you know, a relative fast time, even though it will take decades. I feel like something like that might happen the way it's going with the story, but that is saved for later discussion, because we don't really have any clear-cut clarification right now. So, it's, oh yeah, also to talk about one thing, the demon, the gourmet demon we saw at the end of last chapter, which we were all theorizing to be Frosh, we have it to where in this, she starts talking and all of a sudden disappears. And then Komatsu says like, oh, this voice sounds very nostalgic. And when I saw that, I'm like, you know why it sounds nostalgic? Like, let me point this out. As we know, we found out a while ago, when the ingredients speak to the chefs, that was actually food spirits talking to the chefs. We found out about this a while back. And if you think about this, if that is really the gourmet demon, or Frosh, maybe that's the person that's been helping Komatsu since the very beginning, probably talking to him and how to cook certain ingredients. That's kind of what I feel like this gourmet demon has been doing, and that's why Komatsu's like, oh, this voice feels very nostalgic. So I feel like that kind of explains why he said that, but also how long this demon has been around, probably helping him out. And there's definitely a link between these two characters after reading this chapter. Now, moving on though, we get some clarification on how the soul swapping or soul trading system really works in this blue grill. So if your soul has a disorder, like if you have a disorder of the soul, your soul will be traded out for someone else. For instance, someone that's high class, someone that was worthy in the past, someone that was an excellent chef or very intelligent, they'll be traded for someone with a soul disorder. So let's say your soul disorder, your personality was just straight up bad. Like you're a bad person, you're evil, and you have this horrible, disorder. And so they would trade your soul out for someone else that could actually benefit the course of what they want to do. And that's kind of how the soul trading works for the soul end of the spectrum. Going on to the other side with the disorder of the body, if your body has defects, like for instance, if you're probably going blind, or if you've lost a limb, or if, there's certain things wrong, if you have a disease or illness, they'll probably just use you as fertilizer. They'll throw you out like nothing and they'll just kill you off just to cook the full course. So we come to find out how the full course is made and how they select different people to be able to be used as fertilizer or people to be swapped out for more souls. So I'm glad that we got to find out more information about that and that wasn't actually completely cut out, because that was something I was very curious about earlier on in the stages of this arc. And back into the final part of the chapter, we come to find out more about the back channel, which the back channel, very interesting and fascinating stuff we got, because seeing how another surpassed the speed of light and then made these back channels, made this like warp in space, like he broke space and time, that is kind of ridiculous. That is really ridiculous just to see what type of potential or power another has in terms of escaping to be able to do something like that. And to see how, like, some of the back channels and how, the soul world came to being was because of another, it makes you question a couple of things. For one, we need to question is, was there no afterlife? Like, was there no afterlife before another started, jumping around at the speed of light? Like, was there no afterlife at all? So what was the concept of the afterlife before it was technically made? So I have many questions about that. That needs a little bit more clarification. But also, the reason why the black triangle is completely dark is because of Well-King Moon sucking out all the light and leaving no light inside of the ocean. So we also got more information about that, which I think we all kind of already understood that. But I mean, we finally got clarification of that as well. So yeah, that was this week's chapter of Toriko. A pretty good chapter. I like finding out more information about the camping monsters, to the safe zones, to the back channel, to, another. There's some really good information in this chapter, and it was definitely a different take to Toriko than recent chapters have been for the past, 10 to 15 weeks, because if you think about it, Toriko recently has been about a lot of hype, a lot of build-up, and holy shit, this is getting epic. That's kind of how Toriko's been for these past couple chapters, and then looking at this chapter, it's like a nice change of pace. The pace of this chapter was actually just there to give us information, and I love the world building when it comes to Toriko. It's one of my favorite times of Toriko when I read it, is the world building chapters, and this is exactly what we got. So tell me your thoughts in the comments below. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.